Hey Pokedad fan club, this is Pokedad, and this is Deck Profile Monday. This is actually the second deck profile that we're looking at for this Monday, and the reason is tomorrow we'll be doing Tuesday night fights, and we'll be pitting the two decks against each other. Now the first deck profile, if you haven't seen it already, we'll have a link in the description below. And that is Mega Ampharos from Ancient Origins. But the one we're looking at right now is Mega Tyranitar from Ancient Origins. So we're going to get right into it. We'll look at the Pokemon first. And the first one is going to be Tyranitar EX. Now Tyranitar EX is a dark type. It has 180 HP, so he is bulky compared to some of the other EXs. However, he is not all that great. He is a means to get to the end, which is Mega Tyranitar. So we will go over his attacks just briefly. His first attack is for 1 darkness and 2 colorless. It's called Hammer In. It's very similar to Miltank's attack. Miltank has a Hammer In for 3 colorless, and it hits for 60. And so this one also hits for 60. Nothing else, just hits for 60. And then he has another attack for 2 darkness and 2 colorless. He has the attack Break Ground, and it hits for 130. However, it does 10 damage to every single one of your Pokemon. Not your opponents, but your bench. It does 10 damage to every bench Pokemon you have. I'm going to just tell you right off the bat, this deck is a very slow and clunky deck. Once it gets set up, though, it's kind of like Primal Groudon. You can run through EX Pokemon very, very quickly. The question is, can you get it set up? So, you're probably not going to be using either of these attacks. And very rarely will you use them. Let's put it that way. Because most of the time we're going to go straight to the Mega, and that is Mega Tyranitar. So we have 3 of the regular, and we play 3 of the Megas. Now, Mega Tyranitar, again, is a very bulky guy. 240 HP, just like Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. He's a dark type. And his attack is also 2 darkness and 2 colorless. It is called Destroyer King. Now, Destroyer King is very unique in the simple fact that it only does 110 damage, but for every damage counter that is on your opponent's Pokemon, it does an additional 60 damage. So if there's 1 damage counter on the Pokemon, it will do 170 damage. And since there's already 1 damage counter on there, that would mean it would do 100. With that 1 counter plus the 170 means you're hitting for 180. So you can hit basic Pokemon, knock them out with just 1 damage counter on them. If there's 2 damage counters, you would hit for 230, and then with those 2 damage counters already on there, that would mean you would hit for 250 damage. So you would knock out all Megas and Wailord, as long as he doesn't have a hard charm on. And we do know that Wailord at Nationals played a lot of hard charms, so you might need to actually get 3 damage counters on a Wailord before you can knock him out. Of course, getting 3 damage counters is not that easy on a Wailord. Alright, so that's the attack we really want to try to focus on. So we're going to try to get damage on the field, and then come in with Destroyer King and knock the opposing Pokemon out. Now, again, it takes 4 energies, so it's very clunky, takes a while to get charged up. One other thing we should mention, it's a blessing and a curse, but Mega Tyranitar has Theta Double. which allows you to put 2 tool cards on Mega Tyranitar. Alright, and so we'll be playing tools in this deck that help us with that. We're going to play Spirit Links, obviously, but we'll play some other tools, and I'll talk about how we'll use those to our advantage. One thing to remember, though, regular Tyranitar can only have 1 item card on him, tool card on him, and then when you Mega Evolve, then you can put a second one on. So if you can get a Spirit Link, that's ideal, but because he's so slow, even if you don't get a Spirit Link, you get another tool on him, that's okay. But just make sure that when you do Mega Evolve, try to get a second tool card on him, because even though it's a blessing to be able to have 2 tool cards, it is also a curse because of, yes, the nasty head ringer. So if you have Mega Tyranitar with only 1 item card on it, tool card on it, I should say, then they can head ringer you, and then you're going to have an extra energy cost, and that makes it very, very difficult. And if you don't have any tool cards, they could technically head ringer you twice, and then Mega Tyranitar is going to need 6 energies to be powered up. So that's the idea. We're going to get Mega Tyranitar powered up. We're going to begin putting damage on the field, and then we're going to try to come in and Destroyer King everything. Alright, now, the way we're going to put damage on the field, guys, I looked at this many different ways. You can use bats, you can try to use Fortress, but this deck has just so much that's needed in it to take advantage of it fully that bats just don't fit. And Fortress is pretty tough to fit in there too. So what we do is we play Baby Yveltal. We play 4 of them. We play 4 because this is what we want. We want to try to start with Yveltal. Yveltal does 2 things for us. He has 2 attacks. He's 130 HP, so he can take a lick. You know, he's not going to just die real quick. He can take a hit. Oblivion Wing does 30 damage, but then you can attach Dark Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So he's going to be our Energy Accelerator for Tyranitar and Mega Tyranitar, but he's also going to put 30 damage onto the opponent's active. If we ever have to, Darkness Blade is available to us, but we really want to be putting energies mostly on Tyranitar. So we're really only going to be putting 1 energy on Yveltal, unless in some case we just happen to need Darkness Blade and we can actually get it powered up. Alright, so we play 4 of those, Energy Accelerator and putting damage on the active. Now, we're hitting for 30, so we also play 3 Absol. This is the one from Primal Clash. It has the ability Cursed Eyes, and when you play it down, you can move 3 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another Pokemon. So it works perfectly because Yveltal hits for the 30, and then Absol can come in and move those damage counters to someone else. Preferably, we want to try to target those Pokemon that are going to be the most menacing to us, like if they're running an opposing Mega, or if they're running a Seismitoad or something like that, something that's going to be menacing. We want to get damage counters on there so that Mega Tyranitar can finish them off with 1 attack. The last thing we want to do is have Mega Tyranitar hit for only 110 and then come in and 2-shot. We want to try to get Mega Tyranitar hitting everything for just 1 shot. Do not target Shamans, because Mega Tyranitar can knock them out with just 1 shot. So don't move the damage counters to Shaman. If you don't have a good place to move the damage counters, then don't play the Absol. Alright. Then we also play, and as I mentioned with Mega Ampharos, I think all Mega decks need at least one of these in the deck, and that is Hoopa EX. Now, we don't really use his attack much. Matter of fact, we can't use his attack because we're not playing any psychic energy in this deck. We use him completely for his ability. His ability is Scoundrel Ring, and Scoundrel Ring allows you to look through your deck, grab any 3 EXs from your deck, and then put them to your hand. So for an Ultra Ball, instead of Ultra Balling for just one card, we can Ultra Ball for Hoopa, play him down, and then we can grab a Mega Tyranitar, and our final one, which is Shaman. Or if we don't need Shaman, we have a supporter in hand, then we go with double Tyranitar and a Mega, or whatever we need, okay? Well, the key is we want to get these out on the bench as quickly as possible so that we can go ahead and start powering them up, because the sooner they hit the bench, the sooner we can charge them up. That is our Pokemon line. We don't have a big line. We have 6, 10, 13, 15 Pokemon is all we play in this deck. And frankly, that's all you really need because there's so much else that you got to have in the deck. So anyway, let's move right on, and we'll go to supporters next. Alright, now the supporters is a little different in this deck. We play a lot of one-offs, and I'll explain in a minute why. But one card we don't play one of is Professor Sycamore. We're going to play 4 Sycamores just because this deck is one of those decks where you need to run through cards pretty quickly to get what you need. So 4 Sycamores. We play 2 Lysander. Lysander, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Lysander wins games by bringing up an active, a bench Pokemon to the active, and then being able to knock them out. So those 3 damage counters we moved with Absol, we can Lysander up that Pokemon that we moved them to, and then we can Destroyer King and finish that Pokemon off. Alright, next we got several one-ofs. Okay, we have 6 trainers that we just play one of, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but we play 4 VS Seekers. So the idea is even if we discard some of these trainers, we can use them as we need them, okay? Now, the first one is probably the most obvious. We play Shauna, okay? Now, if we don't want to get rid of our hand with Sycamore, or we don't have it available, but we do have a Shauna, Shauna is still a decent draw support, giving us 5 cards. We shuffle our hand back into our deck and draw 5. Not as good as Sycamore, but still usable. We also play 1 Birch. Alright, now this gives us 6 draw supports now. And we actually play 1 more. I consider it a draw support. I'll get to it in a moment. But we have 6 draw supports, and we also have 4 VS Seekers. So we should be able to get through our deck pretty quickly. And then we still have the Shaman, so we should be able to draw through the deck pretty quickly. Now Birch is a little more risky than Shauna. Shuffle your hand into your deck, flip a coin. If heads, you get to draw 7, like a Sycamore. But if tails, you get to draw only 4, which is worse than Shauna. But on average, it's going to give you 5.5 cards, so it will net you more, but it's not as consistent. Alright, the last one that I consider a draw support, but it is a dead card at the beginning of the game, is Ace Trainer. Now, Ace Trainer is kind of like the card that's come in place of N. N allowed you to draw cards equal to the number of prizes. So if you got behind, and also your opponent too, so if you got behind, like your opponent had 1 prize card left and you had 6, you could play in, and they would get 1. They would have to shuffle all their cards into their hand, into their deck, and they get 1 card. You would shuffle all your cards into your deck, and then you would get to draw 6. N is passed because of rotation. At least I should say, coming in September, we'll have the new rotation, and you won't be able to use N in standard tournaments anymore. Ace Trainer has kind of taken that spot. However, you can only play Ace Trainer if your opponent has fewer prize cards than you do. So if they take a prize card right at the beginning, you can play Ace Trainer right at the beginning, and the result is you shuffle your hand into your deck, they shuffle their hand into their deck, you get to draw 6 cards, and they get to draw 3. Now I'm going to tell you right now, believe it or not, as needed, as needed as it is to get them to draw only 3, if they've got a good deck, they're probably 3 is not going to be enough to shut them down. It's usually going to give them outs. However, that being said, it's still a good draw support for you. And specifically in this deck, Mega Tyranitar, it really is an extra draw support because you are going to probably get behind in prizes and then make a late game comeback. That's just generally how it works because Mega Tyranitar takes so long to get charged up and get ready. So Ace Trainer in this deck, I feel, is a draw supporter. And with 4 VS Seeker, you can keep using it if you need to help keep, 3 cards still could hinder your opponent. If they get stuck, then it might be enough to win the game. All right, a couple more one-ofs though we have. Some of these you may be surprised, some of them not. The first one I think shouldn't surprise many people is Teammates. Again, because we're going to probably take our Eviltals are eventually going to go down. Okay, we're probably going to lose one. We want to try to get them to. We want to try to have them get 7 prizes is the idea. So we want them to at least take one Eviltal, take a knockout on it. And when we do, we want to have Teammates available so we can get whatever cards we need. This could be a DCE to help us get Tyranitar charged up faster, or this could be another supporter for next turn, or it could be a Spirit Link or a tool card, or whatever we need, a stadium to change the stadium. Teammates allows us to get 2 cards from our deck, but only after our opponent has taken a knockout on us the previous turn. So again, we may not need it right away. We can put it in a discard pile, but again, since we're playing 4 VS Seeker, it just gives us flexibility in our deck. Alright, this is probably going to be the most surprising to most of you. We play 1 Steven. Alright, one of the things that really is very important in this deck is energy flow. Alright, now again, you may not necessarily use this card. Like if I had a choice between Steven and Sycamore, I'm going to probably play Sycamore 99 times out of 100. However, if we have a need, we definitely need to get an energy drop. Steven can get us the energy drop that we need and can get us another draw supporter ready for next turn. So he's just another one of those one-off supporter cards that allow more flexibility in this deck. Alright? So 1 Steven. And then we also play 1 Hex Maniac. And I think Hex Maniac has to be in this deck because we have to get around walls. We have to get around Aegislash. Because we're playing double colorless, and most likely we're going to use it. Now, that's not to say we can't get a Mega Tyranitar charged up with just Dark Energy. But because of Aegislash and Beautifly and Pyroar, well, Pyroar we don't have to worry about too much, and Giratina, I would much rather take out a Giratina with Mega Tyranitar than have to just use regular Tyranitar to take out the Giratina. And Hex Maniac will take those wall abilities away for 1 turn, allowing us to destroy or king whatever is in our way. And again, with 4 VS Seekers, we can call that Hex Maniac back multiple times. Now, we do still have Eviltal, so in some cases like Beautifly, we could charge up an Eviltal and take out Beautifly that way. But 1 Hex Maniac just helps with the consistency in taking out walls. So that is our supporter line, guys. Now, I spent a little more time, but that's because we're using so many different supporters in this deck. But anyway, so that's the supporter line, guys. Let's move right into the item cards. Alright, so the first item, we're going to look at our tool cards, okay? Now, we play a 3/3 line of Mega Tyranitar, so you would think we're going to play 3 Spirit Links. However, we only actually play 2 Spirit Links. Now, I know this is probably risky, but most of the time you're not going to get more than 2 Mega Tyranitars charged up anyway in a game. And because it takes so long, we don't have a problem with Mega Evolving without the Spirit Link. So we also play 2 EXP share. Now this is very good, especially if we have a Mega Tyranitar on the bench, because if we have an Eviltal that has an energy attached, then as soon as that Eviltal dies, it goes to the EXP share and it goes to that Mega Tyranitar. Or if we have another Mega Tyranitar attacking and it ends up going down, then we have another EXP share, and we can take that energy. And so every time something gets knocked out, another energy goes to the Mega Tyranitar on the bench, pretty much getting us charged up without needing to have to attach very much. Now the cool thing is you could actually play 2 EXP shares on 1 Mega Tyranitar if it worked out that way, and then you could get 2 energies coming to Mega Tyranitar at one time. And then finally, the last tool card we play is Hard Charm. We play 2 of those. Now instead of 240 HP, now to one-shot him you're going to need 260 HP, and it's going to reduce attacks by 20, so if you hit him just very weakly, it's not going to do much damage at all. And key thing is you could double Hard Charm a Mega Tyranitar if you wanted to. If you double Hard Charm him, now it's minus 40 for every attack. And that helps quite a bit. Alright, getting on to other item cards, we play 2 Trainer's Mail. This helps us just look for whatever card we need, like Spirit Links, tools, stadium cards, supporter cards, whatever we need, we can get with that. I've already mentioned it multiple times, but we play 4 VS Seekers because we have such a broad supporter line. We play 4 of them so we can get whatever we want out of the discard pile. Gives us added flexibility. Play 3 Ultra Balls. This is to help us grab Hoopa or Eviltal, or to help us get Absol if we need it. We only play 2 Mega Turbos. We could play more. However, with Eviltal's Oblivion Wing getting energy out of the discard pile anyway, we don't need as many Mega Turbos, so we play just 2. We also play switching cards because Mega Tyranitar has such a high retreat cost. If somebody Lysanders him up before he's ready to attack, we need to get him out of there as quickly as possible. So we play 1 Escape Rope and 1 Switch. Alright, that is our item cards for this deck. So let's move right into our stadiums. Alright, and for this deck, we're just playing 3 Shadow Circles. Mega Tyranitar is weak to fighting types. And Eviltal is weak to lightning types. So we got Shadow Circle. If they don't bump the stadium on us, then our weakness is we don't have any weakness for Mega Tyranitar or Eviltal. And so nice stadium, it fits well in this dark deck. And then finally, energies. So we play 7 dark energies. We play 1 dangerous energy. You could bump this up more, but I found that with Mega Turbo and Eviltal needing to have basic energy in the discard pile, it's better to have more of these and less of these. However, 1 dangerous energy can be very clutch, so it helps in that sense. And we just play 3 double colorless. The reason why I don't play 4 is because we're not gonna ever get, we're not ever gonna really need 4 of them. We might need 2 at most. Most of the times we play, in the play testing I've done, and if we absolutely need it, we can usually play teammates to get it. So we don't have to worry about drawing into it as much. The other thing is, there are times where, like Eviltal, I don't want to attach a double colorless to Eviltal. I want to attach a darkness energy. So I'd much rather give myself a higher probability of drawing into a darkness energy instead of drawing into a double colorless, because I need it for Eviltal's attack. Anyway, guys, that is the deck. That's Mega Tyranitar. Hit like and subscribe for me if you haven't already joined our channel. We'd love to have you as part of the community. I appreciate all the comments and all the feedback, and I want to just thank you, all of you, for watching my channel. Tomorrow it will be Tuesday night fights, and we will take Mega Ampharos will battle against Mega Tyranitar, and we will see who comes out on top. In the comments below, tell me what you think of this deck. What would you change? What do you like about it? What do you dislike? I love to hear your opinions and your comments and any questions that you may have, guys. So this is Pokedad signing off, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.